So if you would have told me a couple of years ago that I'd be on here creating my own YouTube channel, putting my face on camera for the entire world to see, I would have told you that you are nuts. There's no freaking way I'm gonna do it. I am not gonna put my face out there for the entire world to see. What if somebody hated my voice? What if someone didn't like the way I talked, the way I looked, the way I did anything? There's a million and one reasons that your brain will tell you not to do something. We all have our own insecurities. Every single person that you know has insecurities, right? So one of the most important things is overcoming those insecurities and putting yourself out there. So I decided to create this video really as like a baseline for the channel. This is the first video that I'm posting. This is unedited. This is me in real life, the authentic me. I do think it's important to create authentic content today. At the time of filming this, you know, there's so much out there on YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, AI generation, and AI is great. But what I think a lot of people want out there is authenticity. They want real people. They want real emotion. And, you know, that's stuff that AI can't create for us. So I wanted to create this channel to really kind of outline the journey that I've went through over the course of the last 20 years in a professional manner, as well as personal development. So I've gone through a lot of changes throughout my 20 years of working. I started building side hustles back in 2010. And you know, there's so many different opportunities out there today to start building. And that doesn't necessarily just mean online, but you know, we have a lot of information at our disposal that so many people can utilize, and you can start creating yourself. So a lot of things for me have changed when I turned 40. I think that's really when I started to reevaluate my life and really the purpose and what I want to live for. So, you know, at the time, I really had reached almost all of, let's say, the financial goals that I set out for myself. You know, my wife and I, we live pretty comfortably, right? We live in a nice home, a nice area. We have two awesome kids, but something inside of me was somewhat missing, or there was a void. So I went down this journey of really reflecting on my own life and my own values and what really is important to me. And one of the things that is important to me is raising two kids, two boys, into young men and men that have good values. So I wanted to create a channel that can act as a resource for folks no matter where they are in their journey. Maybe you're just starting out, maybe you're stuck, maybe you don't have the right mindset. I've really gone through it all. So what I wanted to do was create this video as a baseline to kind of show where the channel started and something I can reflect on years down the line to be like, hey, look at how much I've grown. So when I think about my two boys growing up and following what my folks and what society has told us to do, go to school, get good grades, go to college, get a good job, make six figures, work there 20 years and retire. I think that playbook is completely outwritten, and something has to be done about that. So I am a huge fan of continually building skills. That's something I'm going to instill in my children, is to continually grow, continually learn, and continually build skills. Because what I'm finding are a lot of folks, whether they're in their 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, are coming to terms with not being able to find work. You know, I just connected with an old colleague of mine a couple weeks ago. She is an MBA business graduate, worked in consulting for 10 years and can't find a job. And, you know, she's somewhat lost and she doesn't know where to go. And for me, you know, it always kind of blew my mind that there were so many folks that I knew that always relied on a single or dual income in their household. And I will never, I think from a young age, I always knew that was never going to be the case for me. Interesting story, when I was growing up, I grew up in a middle-class neighborhood in the suburbs of Chicago. My dad worked, he traveled a lot Monday through Friday, and my mom raised us. She was a homemaker, and that was pretty much common in those days, right? Most parents I knew, the mom was a homemaker and the dad was out working. There were some households that were like dual income, but most of it was like housewives, right? So, things were easy, right? And that's how I thought things were. But that was not reality. That was my little bubble. And I always remind this to my wife that there's so many people out there in this world, and we live in our own little bubble. So, fast forward through a number of years later on in college, my dad, who had worked for this large public corporation, actually got let go before he wanted to retire. And, that came as a shock, right? So he worked there 20 years and, really got let go for one reason or another. And I saw him struggle. I saw a man in his late 50s struggle to figure out who he was. His entire identity was his work. And I knew I didn't want to end up like that. And not to say that that was bad, but I just knew that wasn't the path for me. And everyone has a different path, right? So there are folks out there that want to go into a specific field of work and work their entire life, and they're passionate about it. God bless them. And that's awesome. And, there are people I know like that, and they do that, and that's great. But there are other folks out there with a different mindset. And I knew that I always had that specific mindset. I always went against the grain. I always, when people were going right, I was going left. So really, it gave me the idea to create this channel to act as a resource for folks out there that are looking to build additional income streams, build their mindset, personal development, and ultimately create a life that you want to live on your own terms, right? So kind of defying the norm is, hence how I found the name of this channel. So I think this is it. I wanted to do this quick intro video to introduce myself. I hope that whoever's out there watching can get some value out of the videos that I'm publishing. So my hope is for those of you that are out there watching, you can gain some knowledge and you find some value. If you want, go ahead and give me a like to this video, follow me, follow my journey. My ultimate goal is to create a community where everyone can start sharing their knowledge and boost each other.